Hello everyone and welcome to the playthrough of Red Riding Hood versus Snow White. And first we're going to be talking about Red Riding Hood. Let's read about what the backstory is of Red Riding Hood, okay? Where does she come from? Why does she look the way that she looks? And also after that, the advantages, the disadvantages, and the tips, okay? Alright, so here we go. Cue the music. Red Riding Hood's father had a conscience, a dangerous thing for a politician. It was his concealment of a potent technology, though, that eventually got his family and him killed. One afternoon, a covered band of hired assassins followed Red Riding Hood home from school. They gutted the house in search of the device. Then, when that failed, they did the same to Red's family. They killed Red last and were surprised to uncover their prize hiding inside her. While the others celebrated, though, one assassin turned on his crew, slaughtering them all. The man gathered up the girl and the device, taking them both to a secretive augmentation chop shop. He got to work splicing together the girl's body. He placed stone-shaped AI-powered augment drones into her belly, then returned the stolen device, a limitless power source driven by otherworldly energies. Sewing her up, he finished his work by searing a wolf's head brand into her stomach. Red wrenched awake to find both her life and body irrevocably altered. Looking around, she realized she was utterly alone. Red wandered in shock through the city streets. She had nearly given up when she heard a wolf's strange growl inside her head. It showed her how to use her changed body and how to survive. It taught her to channel her anger. Before long, Red wasn't just surviving. She was a vigilante assassin whose name brought chills throughout the underworld. Donning the symbol of her innocence, a red cloak, and harnessing the violence of the wolf within her, Red set out to do in the dark what her father couldn't do in the light. Red didn't know it then, but she was on a collision course with the underworld's shadowy puppet master, the Weaver of Tales. And that confrontation would change everything, including Red herself, forever. Okay, that's a pretty crazy backstory, right? So, when you play with Red Riding Hood, you have some advantages. Red Riding Hood is excellent at quickly defeating her opponents from a distance. All three of her skill categories feature range attacks and can inflict sizable damage. She can also boost her skill's power by discarding other skill cards. As a result, there won't be many wasted skill cards in her hand. After her skills deck's bottom twist cards are unlocked, Red Riding Hood gains the ability to store cards between turns, offering a new layer of strategy. Additionally, her three epics all feature powerful effects. Red Riding Hood is the most straightforward and new player-friendly Fable. But she does, like everybody, have some disadvantages. Red Riding Hood has the lowest HP, so she needs to finish her opponent quickly. Also, since she heavily relies on her skills, which will expend many of her basic cards, she tends not to accumulate a lot of power in most instances. Tips: Overdrive Burn and Transformed Senses can be triggered at the same time. You need to discard a skill card from your hand for each of them in this case, but remember, when you use a skill card, these two twists cannot be triggered. When you use a skill card, a movement skill card, or the epic Raining Vengeance, you can choose not to knock back the opponent at all. Alright, that was Red Riding Hood. Now it's time to move on to Snow White. So let's first start with Snow White's backstory, shall we? Cue the music. When Snow White was young, an oracle announced that someday the girl would grow to engulf the kingdom in darkness, ultimately destroying it. Her overwrought royal parents inquired how to avert this disaster, and the oracle replied simply, "Feed the child one of the prophet's poisoned apples before it was too late." Years passed, and the parents watched the girl grow, searching for signs of evil in the fair youth. Unfortunately, Snow displayed a worrisome curiosity for the dark arts, and a strange habit of speaking to her ornate mirror as if it lived. Undone, the queen realized the time had come to use the apple. The plan went flawlessly, and the morning after, she ate the apple. Snow's attendants found her unmoving in her bed. Her grieving parents commissioned a beautiful crystal coffin for her, burying her in the royal crypt. The only problem was, for whatever reason, Snow didn't remain dead. She woke up, trapped in her crystalline tomb, growing more desperate and mad with every passing day, week, and month. Snow White called upon the dark forces to aid her, and, in exchange, she would become their vessel. The powers responded, summoning 7 traveling knights to her crypt. The knights freed Snow, and she arose, not as a fair maiden, but as a mad woman bent on revenge. Turning the 7 knights into deadly serpents, she raged through the kingdom, first killing the oracle and her parents before turning her attention on the masses. In the end, the realm was nothing more than a gutted husk, so Snow left. She wandered the lands, becoming a dark rumor or scary bedtime tale for children. Though, in her case, the whispers were true. Snow persisted for hundreds of years, stumbling upon occasion into a local village, and whenever she did, it was time to feast. Yeah, so you can see these backstories are quite the stories. So what are the advantages of Snow White? Snow White is an expert at corrupting her enemy's deck while poisoning her opponents to death. Poison bypasses her opponent's defense, going straight for HP. All of her skill categories can spread her poison, though each of them focuses on different aspects, delivering poison in massive doses, speeding up the opponent's deck cycling, or getting close to the opponent quickly. As the game goes on, the opponent will find it more and more difficult to organize effective tactics, and will continuously hemorrhage HP, so it's unwise to delay the fight too long when facing Snow White. The disadvantage of Snow White: most of Snow White's attacks are very short range. Getting close to her opponent can be an obstacle in some cases, especially when facing long-range attackers. Additionally, it takes a while for the poison to accumulate to produce a significant effect. Combined with her lack of defensive abilities, Snow White will usually be at a disadvantage in the early stage of the game, needing to come back quickly in the later stage. Tips: the effect of Poison Purity is cumulative with the poison card's effects. Each poison card will cause the opponent to lose 1 extra HP for each Poison Purity unlocked when entering the opponent's discard pile. When you use the epic Rain of Mirrors, the effect of this card will be fully resolved before the opponent can use any responsive abilities. This epic can potentially discard the opponent's epic card should it be used at the right time. Alright, so these are the 2 people who will be fighting each other. So let's move on to the battle. Okay, let's start the playthrough, shall we? Now you've seen that I've removed the sleeves there from the epic cards. I'm going to remove these sleeves too, just to increase their visibility. Of course, if the moment arrives that I take an epic card, then I will just simply add it to the rest. Then I will put it back in the sleeve is what I mean. Okay, so the first player will be Snow White. So she's going to draw 4 cards. Now, because I'm playing 2 players, I am not yet going to draw the cards for Red Riding Hood, because I don't want to look at them, because otherwise it will influence my Snow White's turn. So these are the 4 that she starts with. Now, the problem is, not problem, but I could always do a mulligan, which I might do, to be honest, because this one is a damage one, which I can do, but it's range 1, and I am too far away to actually get to her. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do a mulligan, put everything back, shuffle everything, and then draw 4 new cards. Because I don't want to start with that. I mean, I can't even use the attack for power. So I only have like 2 power on my first turn. That would be pretty bad. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Put the deck here. Defense, defense, attack, movement. See, this is way better. So I play 2 defense. I get 2 defense. I get 2 power. And then I play 1 movement. So I gain 1 power, and I will move 1 step closer to Red Riding Hood, and then I'll play 1 attack, which will give me another power, and I will damage Red Riding Hood for 1, so she goes from 30 to 29. Then I have 4 power to spend, and I want to get rid of I want to give my poison cards as quickly as possible to Red Riding Hood. So if it's a venomous turn, that means I can move through her and give her poison. If I go to Storm Routes, my first twist card will allow me to, when I do at least 2 damage, I can give them poison. And Tainted Feast, so Corrupted Destiny means when I would play poison cards into an opponent's discard pile through a skill, I can instead choose one of those cards and shuffle it into her deck, so the poison will come out faster. So I should also say for Snow White that poison, the basic card, means that once Red Riding Hood uses this, she loses 0 HP, but then when she uses it, she gets 1 power. So it's not that bad. She can still get power from it. But of course, once I go through my level 1s, the blue ones means that she loses 1 HP, still gets 1 power, the red one's 2 HP. But if I go to the bottom of any of these decks, my twist card will add +1 damage to her. So I'm going to go for the... I think I'm going to go for the defense, because we played once before, and they always say that Snow White is better in the end game, so I want to survive as long as possible. So I have 4 power. I'm going to buy 2 Tainted Feasts. Okay, so that is damage 2, place up to defense cards from the top of the poison deck into the opponent's discard pile. So if I attach 1 defense, I can put 1 poison card in her pile. If it's higher, more. So this will also automatically activate Corrupted Destiny, my twist card. When you would place poison cards into an opponent's discard pile through a defense skill, you may instead choose one of those cards and shuffle it into her deck, so it comes out faster. Alright, so all these cards go into my discard pile. Okay. There we go. And that is Snow White's turn, so all this power is spent. It's 0. Do not touch the defense. That only changes later. So now we move over to Red Riding Hood. She will draw 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And remember, she also has a mulligan. Okay. So she has movement, defense, attack, movement, and defense. This is knockback with movement. So I think she will be keeping this hand. It's a pretty nice hand. Let's start with the easy stuff. 2 defense. Up. Done. Then she will use 1 attack. And of course she has 2 power from defense plus another power from attack. But Snow White has 2 shields, so she blocks that attack. But you still get the power. Okay. And then she has 2 movements. So first she'll use this one, which is range 1, damage 1, knockback 1. So she damages Snow White for 1 and pushes her back 1 spot, but Snow White still has shields, so her shields are now 0. And then Red Riding Hood will move back 1 spot, hoping that Snow White won't be able to reach her, and that gives her another power. So she has 4 power because of these 4 cards. She does not get power from this because she used it to activate that card. So because she's moving back and she'll be shooting from afar, she's going to go for the... Let's just keep it simple. We're going to go for crack shots. Buy 2 crack shots for 4, range 2, damage 2 plus attack. Okay, and then it'll create overdrive burn. When you use an attack skill or a move skill, you may discard up to 1 skill card from your hand to gain damage plus X, and X is the level. So basically you can boost your damage by discarding skill cards. So what Red Riding Hood does is she uses and discards skill cards at a very high level. Alright, so all these go to the discard. Her power goes to 0. And of course, like I said before, we do not touch the defense. And then we go to Snow White. Snow White, Her defense would have reset to 0, but she is already at 0 because of the damage she took. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 cards left. And I was thinking, why is this possible? Because she was first player. So 4 plus 6 is 10, plus 2 is 12. So that's why. Alright, so she has 2 movement, which is very good, because that means she can get into range, potentially. She also has 2 attack cards, which is good for 2 damage, even though Red Riding Hood has 2 shields. She has 1 defense, which is always good, but she can add defense to Tainted Offering, which means we can give poison to Red Riding Hood, which is also really good. So let's use 2 movement, which is 2 power. So instead of putting it here, where it's always a pain to collect, normally you put it there, okay? But I'm going to put it here because it's easier to grab, okay? So 2 movement. So now I'm next to her. Up. Then 2 attack, which is another 2 power. But as I said, she has 2 shields, so she's down to 0. And then I use my Tainted Offering, which is range 1, damage 1. So I do damage her for 1. There we go. And place up to 1 card from the top of the poison deck into the opponent's discard pile. So that means this card goes to Red Riding Hood's discard pile. There we go. That is my turn. Sadly, I was not able to get any defense. I used my defense to get poison. So I'm wide open now, and I'm standing next to Red Riding Hood, so that might cost me, actually. And I also still have 4 power to spend. And also, remember, I've Corrupted Destiny. I can actually shuffle the poison into her deck. I'm not going to, because at this moment, the poison will only give her power. So I'm not going to do it yet. I'll leave it. I'm going to try to get through this deck so my poison becomes 1 damage. If I manage to get that, that'd be awesome. So that's why I'm going to buy... Well, see, this is defense. I'm not going to buy Tainted Maelstrom. I'm going to buy defense 2 and defense 1. So cost of 3 and cost of 1. Because if I'm buying up all these defense cards, I have to be able to use them with my basic cards. So this will make them more powerful. Alright, done. Back over to... Oh no, this goes to 0, of course. Yep. And then over to Red Riding Hood, who will draw 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. So she has 2 skill cards. So one is Pot Shot, which goes with an attack, which she can use. And one is Energy Shield, which goes with defense, which she can also use. And then she has another movement and attack. So that starts easy, okay? 1 attack. So that's 1 power for Red Riding Hood. And 1 damage to Snow White. She has finally drawn blood. Then we have a Pot Shot. So range 1, damage 1, plus the skill card. So 1 plus 1 is 2. So this will give 2 damage and no power. So up 1 and 2. Then she has Energy Shield, which is range 1, damage 1, and then defense ongoing. If your defense is not 0 at the beginning of your next turn, inflict 2 damage to an opponent in range 1. So basically, she'll do 1 damage and she'll get 1 defense. Alright, put her here and do 1 damage to Snow White, who's really getting hit hard here. And then she'll move back 1. Well, the thing is, by using this one, if I use the movement card, that means I'm moving away. And that means the Energy Shield will not have an effect because they have to be in range 1. But I guess it's a way to stop her from coming closer because she doesn't really have any long range things. So yeah, let's just let that. We're going to move back because it gives me power as well. So power up to 2 now. And then all these go away except for Energy Shield. This stays because it's ongoing. So I still have 2 power, And because I can always do stuff to discard skill cards, right? I'm going to buy a level 2 skill card, and that will be another electric shield, because it's defense against. Is it though? No, I'm going to do Unleashed Power, so I can knock her back more. There we go. That's done. The defense is what she got now, so it stays. The power has all been spent. And then we go back to Snow White, who can draw 2 cards and then has to shuffle all the remaining cards to draw again. Up to 6. Alright. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. That's what I'm doing every day. Every day I'm shuffling. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, let's see if anything good comes up. Okay, so this is attack, movement, and defense. So we don't have any attack cards, so that's too bad. That means Short Storm is basically useless. And then I do have movement and I do have defense. But of course, as we know, with the energy shield from Red Riding Hood, if I don't get her energy shield to 0, she'll hurt me if I'm next to her. But I think that shouldn't be a problem, because the movement does damage 1, which means she'll go down to 0. And I can do Tainted Feast as well. So actually I can't do the movements either. Tainted Feast. So these 2 skill cards are useless because the range is too low. And if I use movement, I can no longer use this. So these 2 are useless. Yep. So I'm going to move 1 spot, which gives me 1 power. Which puts me next to Snow White. Then I'm going to use Shattered Passage with defense. Oh, that's also movement. Wait, what did I just throw away? I'm good. Sorry, I can't use Shattered Passage. That's the one I can't use. So I can use Tainted Feast. So it's range 1, damage 2, and place up to defense card from the top of the poison deck into the opponent's discard pile. So I can put 1 card in the discard pile, and I will do 2 damage. And I have 1 defense. So 1 defense to put up 1 power, 1 poison in the discard pile, and 2 damage. So shields are down to 0, and I hit her for 1. So basically, this will now not happen, the energy shield of Red Riding Hood, because it says that your defense is not 0, but her defense is now 0. So she's safe and she has 1 defense. That is the end of her turn. This goes to the discard pile, but she does have 2 power. And yeah, I think I should just go for some of the other cards as well, the skill cards. Maybe the Shattered Truth, which allows them to teleport. Just range 1 plus the movement card, damage 2. Place yourself into one of the opponent's range 1 spaces. So yeah, you can basically teleport as long as you can reach it and also do damage. Okay, so that is the power spent. Done. Back over to... and before we continue with Red Riding Hood, at the moment Snow White has 30 health and Red Riding Hood has 26. And Red Riding Hood has to shuffle and draw 6 cards. And she already has 2 poison cards, but the Snow White still has 4 level 1 poison cards to get rid of before she actually damages Red Riding Hood with her poison. And she still has to spend at least, 12 power or 8 power before she reaches the +1 damage to all her poison. Alright, so more shuffling. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Up. Let's see what happens. Oh, and these 2, because this is supposed to happen immediately at the end of your turn. Now these 2 go away, discard pile, and it fizzles out. So poison, crack shot, pot shot, unleashed ballistics, defense, and movement. So she uses poison. It says action, discard this card from your hand to gain 1 power. So she gets 1 power thanks to the poison. And then it's movement and defense. These two are both attack, so they are useless. But it says here at the bottom, when you use a defense skill, I can discard up to 1 skill card from your hand to gain damage plus X, so damage plus 2. So if I'm movement, if I use this, that will help. So first, defense, all right? 1 power, help. Then we do unleashed ballistics, which is range 1, damage 1, knockback 1 because of the movement, okay? So she does 1 damage, but she discards crack shot thanks to this, which is plus 2 damage. So she'll do 3 damage, and then this one is useless. So 3 damage. Snow White has 1 shield, so she takes 2 damage and is down to 28. Alright, so then Red Riding Hood has 2 power, 1 because of defense, and 1 because of the poison. So she has 1 defense. And with that 2, she's going to get another unleashed firepower. So she can unlock the second twist. When you use a attack or movement skill, just like the other one, you may discard up to 1 skill card from your hand to gain range plus X. X is equal to discarded skill card's level. Okay, so basically you can shoot farther, basically. You can boost one of your skills. Cool. Alright, power goes back to 0, and then we move back to Snow White's. So it's 28 for Snow White to 27. 2, 4, 5, 6. Alright, so 6 cards. Here we go. Attack. Well, these are all basic cards. Okay, and so much defense. Wow. Okay, 4 defense. That also means 4 power. It's jackpot here for Snow White. And then 2 movement and 1 attack. So she's going to attack once, but that'll just deplete the shield of Red Riding Hood and give her 1 power. And then she'll basically run away. Oh no, just move back and forth for 2 power. So goes back and goes back to the front. So she has now 6 to spend. She's going to spend 4 to get Tainted Maelstrom. Okay. Range 1, damage 3, place up to shield cards from the top of the poison deck into the opponent's discard pile. Okay, so that costs 4. So we have 2 left. And with those 2, she is going to buy a wild card. Because wild cards are always good. These ones. Okay, gives you more options. And that's her turn. Didn't really do much, but got more cards. So back to Red Riding Hood. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's see. So attack. Okay, a lot of attack. Okay, I think, well, running away wouldn't have made much difference because she has range 2. Well, she wouldn't have been able to reach her. Well, too bad, I guess. Alright, so this is gonna hurt. First of all, she's going to do the easy one, defense plus 1. So that's 1 power. And then it's going to hurt. She's going to do 1 regular attack to get 1 power. And then the shield goes down by 1. Then crack shot. Damage 2 plus 1. So damage 3. So that depletes Snow White shield, she's at 0 now, and then unleashed firepower, range 2, knockback. Oh no, wait, this is a movement one. She can't use this one. So don't worry. She can discard a skill card to do 2 damage because of the level. So she'll do that, and then an extra attack as well. So she'll do 3 attack, and one of them gets you 1 power. So 3 damage. So Snow White is suddenly down to 25, and that after having a mega defense move, but yeah. Okay, that was pretty awesome. All right, so just to reiterate, she had 1 power from the defense, she had 2 power from 2 regular attacks, and then she used crack shot, which is an attack together, so 2 plus 1 is 3, and then discarded this one for an extra 2 is 5. So she basically did 7 damage in a turn. All right, so then she still has 3 to spend. So like I said, she needs cards to discard because that boosts her skills. So she's going to get rid of this, but then she also just gets one of those for 2, but then she also needs cards to actually feed those. So she is going to get a attack card. It makes sense for her to take an attack card because she has range and Snow White needs to be close to her to attack her. So yeah, she doesn't need much movement. Okay, then Snow White back to 6. She only has 4. So let me shuffle. And of course, because Snow White's starting health was 34, her epic threshold is at 17. So now she's not too far away. She's at 25, 17, so 8 damage. Red Riding Hood is still way far away because she is at 27 and her threshold is at 15, so that's still 12. Alright, so 4, 5, 6. Let's see what kind of a hand Snow White comes up with. Alright, so 2 movement, Tainted Feast, attack, Tainted Offering. Alright, so these 2 are defense. There's no defense whatsoever. So the Tainted Offering and Tainted Feast is wasted. Very, very sad. So nothing to do with that. Can't do anything with that. So she'll attack twice, which gives her 2 power. And that will take 1 health off of Red Riding Hood because she has 1 shield. Okay. And then she still has 2 movements, so that'll also give her 2 power. So she's at 4, and she'll move back and forth. And because with that 4, she'll get another Tainted Maelstrom, which is still defense. Because she needs to try to get the bottom so that her poison cards start to do damage. But of course, she also needs to be able to put poison cards in there, which hasn't been working so far. Probably because of the lack of defense cards, and well, we'll see. Alright, moving over to Red Riding Hood again. She has 3 cards, so she has to shuffle and get some more. Now for Red Riding Hood, if she gets 1 more electric shield, I'm not even sure if she spent her power last turn. I don't think she did. I don't think she spent it because it's 4, right? It's 3, sorry. So for her, let's just say last time I said she needed attack, but let's just say she got electric shield. Put this in here, and now she has hooded system. So basically, every time she takes damage, she can discard a skill card to 1 the skill card to reduce the damage. Alright. So if it turns out that I actually did spend her money, then then the victory is with an asterisk if she wins. Alright. So she has 3 cards already. So I'm gonna give her 3 more. And also reset Snow White's power because she for sure bought something. Okay, so 3 more. Here we go. And reset Snow White's power. There we go. Alright, let's see. Poison. So she uses poison to get 1 power. There we go. Movement, attack, and these are movement and attack. Okay, so knockback, we'll keep that for later. First we'll do attack, which is range 1, so damage 1 plus 1, so 2 damage to Snow White, who has no defense. So up. And then 2 movements. So she'll do knockback, so damage 1, knock back the opponent up to 1 space. So So damage 1, and I can... Actually, I could have discarded this to do 1 damage, but it does 1 damage by itself. But no, I will discard this because this adds 1 damage, and then I can still use this for the power. So, an extra damage for Snow White, and then... And no knockback then. Knockback does not happen. So then I spend 2 movement to go back 1 and forward 1. So that gives me 2 power. So she now has 3 power to spend. And with that 3 power, she will get a wild and a defense. Because I think at the moment she's winning and getting some extra defense, I don't think is a bad thing. Alright, back to... Okay, spend her power first. Back to Snow White. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, so we have all this defense, and attack. And she has 2 defense and 1 wild, so that is perfect for her. This might hurt for Red Riding Hood, especially because Red Riding Hood has no defense. Okay, she's going to use the wild for Shard Storm, which is range 1, damage 1, plus 1, so it's 2 damage, and discard the top card of the opponent's deck into her discard pile. So 2 damage, and Red Riding Hood discards the top card, which is Crack Shot. So 2 damage to Red Riding Hood as well. So she goes down to here. Okay, perfect. And then Snow White is not done, because now she can do Tainted Feast and Tainted Maelstrom, 2 in a row. So first, Tainted Feast, range 1, damage 2. Place up to 1 defense card from the top of the poison deck into the opponent's discard pile. So that's 2 damage and 1 poison card. This one is the same, but 3 damage and 1 poison card. So 2 poison cards and 5 damage to Red Riding Hood. So 5. So she goes from 24 to 19. So suddenly the score is 19 to 22 for Snow White. Okay, so that's Snow White done. Goes to her discard pile. And it is it's Red Riding Hood's turn. So even though Snow White did a lot of damage, she didn't get any cards, of course. So even though the poison is added, and actually she can put both poison cards into her deck if she wanted to, but she doesn't want to yet because it will just give power to Red Riding Hood. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's see if Red can reply. So a lot of action cards and only 1 movement and 1 defense. So we have 3 defense action cards and 1 movement. So potentially the movement could happen and 1 defense can happen, and then 1 card could get discarded to amplify the damage. Even though, oh, and actually she did 5 damage and this was drawn, so she could discard 1 skill card, which she's going to do. She's going to discard this one as -2, so she actually gets 2 health back. Yeah, so she negates 2 health thanks to that. Okay, so let's see what we do here. We will do Electrified Shield, but then that means that's hoping that Snow White doesn't do at least 1 damage. But we'll see. Okay, well, let's use it anyway. Damage 2, and you get 1 defense. Yep. And of course, if defense is not 0 by the time it's our turn again, she'll do 4 damage to Snow White if she's next to us. But we do 1 damage to Snow White now, so 2 damage actually. Yep. And it's a defensive card, so I cannot discard a card to add damage. The other energy shield is useless for the moment, but it won't stay useless because we use the movement card, which is range 2, damage 2, and knock back 1 spot. So damage 2, but because it's a movement skill, we can discard 1 skill card to increase the damage, which we do. So it's +1. So it's 3 damage and 1 knockback. So 3 damage and 1 knockback. So she moves back 1 and 3 damage. So that is down to 17, which means Snow White, her epic card, is unlocked. Well, let's take a look at the epic card, shall we? We have the 7 Serpents. Range 1, the opponent loses X HP. X is equal to the number of poison cards in her discard pile. Now that looks very nice at the moment because the discard pile of Snow White is pretty high. Then we have Rain of Mirrors, which is range 1, damage 3. The opponent must discard all cards from her hand and then draw 4 cards, which means it's a lesser turn for them. And then Brewing Destruction, range 3, damage 3. You may choose and shuffle up to 3 cards from the opponent's discard pile back into her deck. That is really good once the poison cards start, start adding up, start damaging her. But because I still haven't reached it, and I need power to get there, so I don't know. I like the 7 Serpents because, yeah, I'm going to go for the 7 Serpents. I take the 7 Serpents, and also I'm going to draw. Well, technically I would draw already and it would impact my choice. So let me just draw first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Because with this hand, if I can get 4 power and get this, and then use this, then suddenly it's really good. So we'll see. Just defense, movement. It's more like damaging and moving around, seems like. So if I don't use this, and I use all these, I have 4 power. So yeah, I'm going to not take this one. I'm going to do Brewing Destruction. Because with this, I could put the poison cards back into her deck. And then she has to, when she uses them, it will always hit her, like do HP damage. So I'm going to do that. Okay. The other 2 cards, they go back into the box. And of course, like I said, I'm going to sleeve it. So, okay. So these are the cards that I'll be using my next turn. Technically, it's still Snow White's turn, but she has used everything. The cards she has used do not give her any power because she used everything in combination, so she can't buy anything. So her turn is effectively over. So now it is Snow White's turn. So the rulebook says at any time you can look through another player's discard. So I'm discard pile. So I'm going to check Snow White to see how many poison cards she has in there. 1, 2, 3 poison cards. Okay. And I have 2 cards left here. That means there's 1 more poison card in her deck. But, you know, I have this one, so I should use it as well. But before I do, I'm not going to use any of these, but I'm going to use all of these. So 2 defense, which is 2 power, 1 movement to move closer, and that gives me another power. So power is at 3. 1 attack for another power, which is 4. Defense goes down by 1. So her shield is ineffective. And then with the 4 power I have, I buy Tainted Maelstrom. Okay. Which allows me to put my cards in the deck and so on. But even more importantly, it activates Poison Purity, which is when a poison card enters an opponent's discard pile, that opponent loses 1 extra HP. And it's cumulative with all the other cards at the bottom here. But it's way expensive. It's super expensive to get it though. So then I'll play Brewing Destruction, range 3, damage 3. So 3 damage to Red Riding Hood, who goes from 21 to 18. And then shuffle it back in the 3 poison cards. Now, before I do this, I should first draw the 6 cards, because she was supposed to draw these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. before I did my turn. She does it at the end of her turn. So these 3 are shuffled in with these 2. So basically next round, doesn't even matter. She has to draw all 5. She will get hit 3 for 3 health on her turn. And it says lose, so she can't block it with shields or whatever. Okay, that's done. I spent everything. This is all discard pile. So now it is Red Riding Hood's turn. And for now, the score is 17 health Snow White. And Red Riding Hood has 18. And it's Red Riding Hood's turn. Okay. And she has a poison card. Oh, that's not fun. So this card is automatically discarded anyway. No matter what you do, the moment it enters, she will lose 1 HP. So she discards it. She loses 1 HP, but she gets 1 power. Then 2 defense for 2 power. Yeah. So she's at 3. Then she has 2 attack cards and 1 she can combine with crack shot. So it's 2 damage. But it doesn't really... Well, yeah, she has to combine it. Yeah, 2 plus 1 is 3 damage. Plus 1 more damage, so it's 4 damage. And this increases by 1. So 4 damage to Snow White. She goes from 17 to 13. And the electric shield, as I said before, fizzles out because her defense was down to 0. Okay. Alright, so now it's Snow White's turn. So she draws 1, and then she has to shuffle this whole deck. So, you know, if she's really lucky, she'll draw her epic card again. And that would be, of course, very nice. Because at this point, technically Snow White, Red Riding Hood has drawn all the poison cards. No, okay, she does not want to draw her epic card yet. She wants to draw her epic card next turn. Not now. Because she's going to reshuffle, there's going to be nothing in the discard pile yet. Alright, so she has 1 card. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Done. And then I'm also going to do it for her. Because it does matter in this case. Every day I'm shuffling. Alright, now it's a lot closer. When Kine and I played Red Riding Hood versus Snow White, Kine blew me away with like a double hit because he was able to get some really... Well, when he got his epic, he did the double damage thing where you do the same action twice, and that did hit me for like 10 damage. So when I say me, it was like Snow White, of course. So that was very painful. All right, so I'm not going to look at what they are, obviously. So Snow White's turn, and this power goes away. Oh wait, she had 4 power, but didn't use it, right? So she still has to buy something. She's gonna buy, I think, Sniper Shot, because that does a lot of damage. Sniper Shot, yes. So actually that should have been shuffled in. So this last card, put it back on top, shuffle again, and then this goes away. Boom, done. Up. All right, let's see what happens. So she has 2 defense, 1 attack, and 3 skill cards. And the skill cards are 2 defense and 1 movement. Movement she has none of. So this one is useless. She does have 2 defense and 2 defense cards, which are awesome, and 1 attack card. Okay, so she'll attack first for 1 power. So her shield will go down to 1 actually. And then Tainted Maelstrom. Range 1, damage 3, and then place up to 2 cards from the poison deck into the discard pile. So 3 damage and 2 cards, and then with this one 3 damage and 1 card. So 6 damage and 3 poison cards. 1, 2, 3. So now the blue poison card comes along and says when this card enters your discard pile, you lose 1 HP, but because of the poison purity, it becomes 2 HP. So this goes into her discard pile. So next turn, if hopefully for Snow White, her epic card comes out, she could just shuffle these back into her deck, so the higher chance to come out. And also she just did 6 damage, right? So 1 down, so it's 5 remaining. And let's see if Snow White wants to. Yeah, she's going to discard her Unleashed Firepower to negate 2 damage. So instead of 5, it's 3, and it's 17 minus 3 is 14, and she can choose an epic card. Alright, so her epic card will be, let's take a look. Add 2 cards from the tops of any deck into your hand. This is not a power-up action, so she could get like double sniper shot and activate onboard cache, for example. System hack, repeat the action or the skill of an attack or a movement you just used this turn, which is super powerful, like I said before. Range 3, damage 3, knock back the opponent up to 3 spaces. The opponent must then discard 3 cards from her hand. So basically, reduce hand size to 3 damage and making me go far away and hopefully allow me not to come back. So she's going to do Raining Vengeance. Should see. Maybe a system hack is the best. No, I'm going to Raining Vengeance. We'll see what happens. So I'll put it in a sleeve. Done. Okay, so Snow White's turn is over. This defense is actually 0. Shouldn't be 2. And she has 1 power. So with the 1 power, she will buy 1 movement. Okay, there we go. Power 0. She's at 13, and we move to Red Riding Hood, who is at 14. But she is having some problems because these 3 poison cards that she has will be discarded for 3 power, but she'll also lose 3 health. So she's going from 14 to 11. And then she does have Raining Vengeance, but she can attack twice before that. So she attacks twice for 2 power. So 2 damage. And then another 3 damage, and then discard 3 cards. So 5 damage to Snow White. So it goes down to 8. And she draws 6 and discards 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now she can't choose which ones she discards. Huh. So she's not going to discard that one. So this one goes with defense. Definitely keeping that one. Even though she's going to be knocked back 3 spaces. So 1, 2, 3. So it's really far. This one has range 3, but it's too far because this is range 4. So she has to be able to move. So these 2 have to go together. She has to keep that to be able to attack from that range. Attack is useless. So this is already discarded. I need to discard 2 more. And then these are actually also useless because it's ranged. So yeah, these are the other 2. Alright. So that was pretty painful. Power-wise, did she get that much power? Yeah, she did. So she has 5 power. She's going to get a sniper shot for 4. And then actually, yeah, damage for 4, and then an attack card for 1. And of course, these 2 cards go back in the box. Alright, that's done. Then we move to Snow White's, who has these cards. So, first of all, movement 1, which gives her 1 power. Then defense 1, 1 power. And then she uses Brewing Destruction again. So range 3, damage 3, and shuffle 3 cards into her deck again. So 3 damage to Red Riding Hood, who goes from 11 to 8. And then 3 cards are shuffled back in, which of course will be 3 poison cards, especially the blue one. So let's like this, like this, like this, and then shuffle. So Red Riding Hood is at 8, and Snow White is also at 8. So it's a tie, but it's Red Riding Hood's turn, and Snow White only has 1 defense. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. And actually, because she did 3 damage, Red Riding Hood can actually yeah, she was supposed to draw. Okay, I have to take out the poison first, shuffle and draw 6, and then shuffle the cards in, because she should have already drawn her hand before we did all this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, done, and then these 3 go in. And yes, I realize it was very lucky for Snow White because the blue poison was at the very bottom. Okay, so done. And now Red Riding Hood could discard 1 card to negate damage. So it has to be a skill card though. So one of these 2. I think she'll be discarding Electrified Shield because Sniper Shot is way too good. So she does that to get rid of 2 damage from those 3. So she actually has 10 life instead of 8. And then it's Red Riding Hood's turn. First, she'll get rid of the poison, which does 1 damage, but gives her 1 power. So 9. And then she has 2 defense and 1 movement. So she... Actually, let's redo that because I didn't check it correctly. Sniper Shot would have been discarded and then actually have 1 extra life because she couldn't have used the other one. Now she can. Alright, so she moves 1 step closer. It gives her 1 power. Then Electrified Shield, range 2, damage 2, and 1 defense. And then she gets another defense because of this card. So 1 power because of that defense. But yeah, 2 damage. But Snow White has 1 shield, so she takes 1 damage, is down to 7. Alright, that is the end of the turn. So she has 3 power. She's just going to go ahead and get an attack level 2. And then it's Snow White's turn. We're nearing the end here. Snow White's going to get 6 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's see. Defense. Shattered Passage, Tainted Feast, Movement, and Wild. So defend, movement, and wild. So you can literally do everything. Because this is defense, this is movement, and this will be wild. But then we're talking about range. And range, so the movement is not going to work because she needs the movement to go closer. So this is gone. She'll use 1 movement, get 1 power, move 1 closer, and then she can do Tainted Feast, range 1, damage 2, and place 1 card of the poison deck in her discard. So level 2 poison, up, and damage 2. So her shield is back down to 0. So this one fizzles out again. And then Short Storm, damage 1, +1, and discard the top card. So it's 2 damage to her. So she goes down to 8, and the top card is discarded. Now, if this one is poison, it still damages her. It's whenever a poison card hits her discard pile. So, no poison. Crack shots. Okay, so that's it. She gets no power whatsoever. She has 1 power. Yeah, she has 1 power from what? From the movement. Yeah. So she gets 1 power, and for that 1 power, she gets defense. Oh. All right. So Snow White did not get any defense. She did some damage, but not much, to be honest. So Red Riding Hood has 8. Snow White has 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Without looking at my hand, my money is on Red Riding Hood. We'll see. Okay, 1 poison, a lot of attack, but no defense. So that's good for Snow White, I think. Because this is useless. And then poison gives her 1 power, and she takes 1 damage. So she's down to 7. But then 3 attack and 1 movement. So she hits for 3 and then moves back. So that's 4 power. So she's at 5 power. Is it? Yeah, 5 power. So 3 damage. So Snow White is at 4. Red lights flashing, flashing, flashing. Okay. Now I just realized it's because I'm using 2 characters. But Snow White, actually every time I use a defense skill to put cards in her discard, I could have put it in her deck. And I should have been doing that actually. But yeah, too late now. Okay, so anyway, she has 5 to spend. She's going to spend 4 to get a sniper shot and 1 to get an attack. And then activate onboard cash, which means place a card from her hand onto this card and save it for the next round, basically. Very, very good. I'll put it here so it's more readable. All right, so that's done. This fizzles out, by the way. This goes to 0. So she's at 7 still. Snow White could be her last turn because she's at 4 health. So 4 cards, shuffle. Okay, she really needs to hope now to get her epic out again. That would be nice. Because she really needs to damage. She really needs to hit her hard. Because Red Riding Hood has no defense whatsoever. Although she can always discard a skill card to negate damage, which is for sure what she'll do. So Snow White needs to do a ton of damage. Okay, 4, 5, 6. Or just have a ton of defense, I guess. Okay. 1 movement. She'll move 1 closer, get 1 power. Up. Then do 1 defense. So damage 2 and place 1 card on top of the in the discard pile. But I'm going to put it inside inside the deck in a minute. But 2 damage. So we'll wait to see if she does anything against it. 2 damage. So she's going to draw 6 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh yeah, she's definitely going to discard something because she can only use movement. Everything else is kind of useless. So she'll get rid of Energy Shield to negate 2 damage. 1 damage. Well, no, she should get rid of Unleashed Firepower then. But that's the only one she can use. No, Crack Shot. So to negate 2 damage. So the 2 damage is negated. And then she hits her for 1 power. And then it gets 2 defense. So 2 more power. It's 4 power. So 1 damage to Red Riding Hood. And then Snow White has 4 power. She buys Shattered Truth, which opens up Venomous Turn, which means after you move through an opponent via a move action, or an opponent moves through you via a move action, you may place the top card of the poison deck into her discard pile. So only move action, not a skill. Okay. So this one will be shuffled into her deck, which can actually just be put on top of her deck because she's going to have to draw it anyway next turn. All right, that's it. She spent everything. Over to Red Riding Hood, who has these cards. Now, she spends the poison to get 1 power, but takes a hit of 2 health. And Snow White is at 4 health and 2 defense. So, only thing she can do is movement though, which will be Unleashed Firepower, damage 2, knock back 1 space. But because she does that, she can get rid of a card and increase damage by 1. So it's 3. So 3 damage and knock back 1 space. And the other one's useless. So 3 damage, knock back 1 space. So 2 damage is negated. So she takes 1, which is still 3 health. Oh my goodness. And she has 1 power. She will get an attack card. Just keep going for those attack cards. Something good is bound to happen, right? Alright. Let's take 6 cards, see what happens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's really going down the wire here. Defense, movement, attack, brewing, destruction. I think it's over. It's over. 1 movement. Oh, maybe not. We'll see. 1 movement. Alright, 1 power. Then we will do Brewing Destruction, range 3, damage 3. You may choose and shuffle up to 3 cards from the opponent's discard pile into her deck. So, looking for those blue poisons. 1 blue poison, 2 blue poisons. Just 3 regular poisons. So these will be shuffled in here. This is a discard pile, so it doesn't matter. Oh, but once again, these 3. Actually, this will not happen. Sorry, this would not happen. This is in the discard pile because at the start of a turn she would draw 6. This is 5. This would shuffle. Oh. And then 6. So there is no discard pile. But anyway, 3 damage. And then she can discard a skill card to negate. And she has to, basically, otherwise she's dead. So 3 damage, gets rid of 1. Which becomes 2 damage. So she's down to 2 health. And then Snow White is Smelling Blood. 1 regular attack for 1 power. So she is down to 1. And then Shattered Passage movements here. Damage 1. Place yourself into the opponent's rage. Doesn't matter. Damage 1. She is dead. Snow White wins. And honestly, if you look at Red Riding Hood's hand, she would have been totally screwed as well next turn. She would have taken 4 damage and had only defense in her hand. Done. That was the playthrough. I made some goofs here and there. Maybe didn't use all the stuff here that I should have, or here. But I'm playing 2 characters, so yeah. I hope that gave you a good idea of how the game works. And yeah. Next time it'll be me versus Hein, probably with some other characters, so feel free to watch, tune in then. And this was so many games, so little time. See you next time.